what makes America the greatest country in the world.
Soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen.
Stood up for what was right. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one.
It's time we started talking. Pain isn't something we talk about.
All we can ever do for our heroes is remember them, and they gave up two lives. The one they were living and the one they would have lived. They gave up everything for our country, for us. Let's pray for freedom and justice.
Only be a war if soldiers are willing to fight.
Less than 1% of Americans serving in uniform. Some veterans not getting the timely care that they need. The good news is that in recent years we've made historic investments to boost the VA budget.
What is it? Why should we care?
We should care about press freedom
because we were informed.
In democratic societies, free, diverse, and pluralist media enable public debates and are essential checks
You don't
on
look
power.
sad. Let's discuss.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi, welcome to Vet to Vet podcast. Our new episode is about Caregiver Program. One of those handy tools that you actually need to have in your toolbox and that might be helpful to you if it actually applies to you.
Definitely.
Yeah, so if it's your first time listening, then thanks for coming and please enjoy and use this information to your own benefit. So today we are talking about Caregiver Program, which is officially called Primary Family Caregiver, and it's a stipends that you get or monetary compensations that you get on a monthly basis, and it's paid not directly to you as a veteran, but to your sometimes next of kin or somebody who is taking care of you. So, like legal term would be primary family caregiver, but it doesn't mean that he got to be from the family.
Right.
So, and that person would be providing you personal care services if you're eligible and if you are enrolled in that caregiver program. And please understand that the stipend benefit is not intended to replace caregiver earnings, and the receipt of the stipend payments does not create an employment relationship in between VA and the primary family caregiver. So that's short introduction, and let's get it started.
Yeah. So one of the less known benefits with the VA is the Caregiver Program. Many veterans are so disabled that they cannot go to work or even take care of themselves, so they need someone to take care of them on a regular basis. In many circumstances, this usually falls on the spouse or the family member elected to provide that care to the veteran, in order that the veteran might have some comfort of being at home surrounded by the loved ones that they care for. Caregiving can be a full-time job, and if a spouse or family member is taking care of a veteran on a full-time basis, they find it difficult to work. So the VA has attempted to support that caregiver by establishing the Caregiver Program, which compensates and provides benefits to that primary caregiver. The VA also provides training for that primary caregiver so that the veteran might receive the best home care possible.
Yeah, and as always, we're going to give you enough information to be able to navigate through the system. But if you want to go in depth, we'll give you those instructions or acts that that program relies on. So the first one would be Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregiver Act that was established in PL 111-163. And the other document would be Caregivers and Veterans Omnibus Health Service Act of 2010. So those would be two documents that you can actually rely and go in depth and look at some fancy terms. So can all caregivers receive the stipend?
No. Only the designated primary family caregiver of an eligible vet is entitled to receive the stipend. There could only be one primary caregiver at a designated time, but you could have backups just in case.
Yeah. So what caregiver programs and services is my family eligible through VA?
The VA recognizes the work of family caregivers who care for those who have borne the battle from all eras. Several support and services, including but not limited to the caregiver consultation, education and training, home and community-based health care for the veteran, and respite for the caregiver are all available from the VA under the Caregiver and Veterans Omnibus Healthcare Services Act of 2010. Additional VA services are available to seriously injured post 9/11 veterans and their family through the Caregiver program, the Comprehensive Assistance for Family Caregivers.
Yeah. So once again, some general information. So let's check if you're actually eligible. So what kind of steps or what kind of things you need to have in your file or in your pockets in order to be eligible as a veteran.
One of the biggest ones is the veteran needs to incur or aggravate or have an aggravated or serious injury, including TBI, mental health issues, or psychological trauma in the line of duty or on or after September 11, 2001. Because of the qualifying seriousness of the injury, the veteran requires another person or a caregiver to assist the veteran with the management of personal care functions required in everyday living. 3, the serious injury renders the veteran in need of personal care services for a minimum of 6 continuous months based on a clinical determination that takes into account various factors. 4, it's in the best interest of the veteran to participate in the Caregiver Support Program. 5, the veteran will receive ongoing care from a patient-aligned care team, or called PAC team, or other VA healthcare teams as required for the participation of the program. 6, the veteran agrees to receive ongoing care at home after the VA designates a family caregiver. And 7, personal care services that would be provided by the caregiver will not simultaneously be provided through another individual or entity.
So, well, Joseph, the way I understand it, so pretty much if I'm a veteran and I'm suffering, I cannot care for myself, and I've been suffering for 6 months, looks like I can be eligible.
Yes, you definitely have that shot, especially if you're after September 11, 2001.
Cool. And also keep in mind, but I guess since you served, you know that somebody who is can be in charge of you, your body get to be at least like 18 years old. So the same applies to a caregiver. So who can be a caregiver? He can be or she can be your spouse or your husband. Can be son, daughter, parent, step family member, or extended family member. Or it goes outside the family, someone who lives with a veteran full time. So let's say you are living with your best friend. So guess what? He can be a caregiver because he lives with you, even though he's not related to you by blood. And number 3, so prior to approval, the caregiver will be provided with training and must be able to demonstrate the ability to assist the veteran with personal care functions required in everyday living. So pretty much you got to go through some technical training, which is done online, but we'll get to that. And of course, why should I do it? Besides that I'm suffering, because that caregiver who actually puts time and effort, and they do a lot, definitely he's liking his job. And most likely he's not making enough money to actually make his ends meet. And most likely, especially like in high expensive areas like California, he can be actually losing twice as much as he would get from like caregiver program. So it's actually an amazing, kind of act of kindness that person does.
Definitely.
So, and about the money, so will my stipend be taxable income?
No. So the stipend is a VA enhanced service and is not considered taxable income. And so that helps out the caregiver a little bit too.
Yeah, so like pretty much, so he will be getting money at the end of the month, at the end of the year. His tax declaration wouldn't reflect those monies that he got from VA. So he might be eligible for lesser bracket to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So, and who determines the number of hours of personal care services that the veteran requires?
One, it'll be the Veteran Patient Aligned Care Team or the PAC team at your assigned VA medical center. They'll make a determination after evaluation that the veteran and your disabilities. The PAC team also provides a clinical evaluation of the veteran's level of dependency based on the degree of which the eligible veteran is unable to perform one or more activities of daily living, or the degree to which that veteran is in need of supervision or protection based on symptoms or residuals of neurological or other impairment or injury. As a result of the clinical evaluation and score, the eligible veteran will be rated as follows. The high tier equates to a maximum of 40 hours of care per week or a full-time job for helping that veteran out. The minimum tier equates to about 25 hours a week or a part-time job. And the lower tier equates to about 10 hours of care per week.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes here it can be a little bit unjust because in some areas, especially like here in California and LA, people would work probably like 60, 70 hours a week. So your caregiver, he still would be working. And let's say if he's working and caring for you for 40 hours, but somehow you didn't score high enough at VA, so you might be eligible for less than 40 hours, but he would still be putting 40 hours. So it's in your best interest to understand actually how to align those two.
Yeah, because it you know how it is. It's hard to understand what a person's going through, and because these PAC teams are filled with a lot of people, sometimes it gets hard to understand. They might miss a few things and not get the severity of your issues.
Yeah, and it also depends on the area where you live in. So right here, right now on the screen, you can see web links that you can click, which actually sends you to special compensation for assistance with activities of daily living page, which we calculate exact amount of money you would get for your zip code. Well, and of course, sometimes this link works, sometimes not, unfortunately. So what kind of benefits caregiver gets besides money?
Yeah, so besides the money, there's travel expenses, including lodging and per diem when the vet has to travel for medical care. There's access to health care for insurance through CHAMP VA if the caregiver is not already entitled to care or services under health care. So that helps out. Mental health services and counseling for the caregiver in case they need a break. Comprehensive VA caregiver training provided by Easter SEALs, and respite care not less than 30 days per year if that caregiver needs a little bit of a break.
Yeah, what is respite care actually? What is it?
Say they need a little bit of break because they're focused on this vet, especially if you're at the 40 hours a week. And so sometimes it becomes hard, and every once in a while you need to take a little break or a little vacation to get readjusted and recharge your batteries, and so this kind of helps out with that. And so what they'll do is, if you have a secondary caregiver, that the primary could go on vacation or take a little break or do what they got to do for their own family, and a different caregiver will come and take care of you.
There you go. And there is a little catch with CHAMP VA. CHAMP VA, so as probably most of you know, so it's more likely a family-related program, so that your spouse or somebody in your family would get. But the catch is when you live with somebody who is not your family, so he is not eligible to have any other insurance except CHAMP VA. But if it's a family member, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be wrong. So your family member can have other insurance.
From what I believe, yeah, no, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when it's not somebody who is not blood related, let's say your roommate who is taking care of you, he is not eligible. He cannot have any other insurance because otherwise CHAMP VA will, be cut.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah. So who is that guy? Chief Business Office Purchase Care. What is the role of?
The VA Chief Business Office Purchase Care located in Denver, Colorado, performs administrative processing for the stipend payments using the PAC determination tier level and the veteran's geographic location. They makes reoccurring monthly payments, processes all updates related to the stipend, and also administrates CHAMP VA benefits for eligible caregivers with no other healthcare insurance.
Yeah, so that's pretty much an administrative, government administrative body who actually is in charge of the program. So they run the show, if I can say that. So how will my stipend amount be determined? Well, we'll give you how it's actually calculated so you can understand it, but don't forget you can always refer to the web link and just plug in numbers and that's it. But for your understanding, you might be interested as well.
Yeah.
So how it is determined?
The stipend amount is based on the weekly number of hours of personal care services that the eligible veteran requires during the month. It is calculated by multiplying the Bureau of Labor Statistics hourly wage for home health care aides, skill code 311011, for the geographic region in which the eligible veteran resides by the Consumer Price Index cost of living, or the COLA, and then multiplying that total by the number of weekly hours of caregiver assistance required, assigned to tier level of hours. This product is then multiplied by the average number of weeks in each month.
Well, give you an example.
So for an example, the veteran requires 10 hours of personal care services weekly in Tier 1, and the caregiver's hourly wage, including COLA, is about $10 an hour. Then the monthly stipend would be 10 times 10 times 4.35, which would equal $435.
Yeah, as always, you can always plug those numbers in and get exact amount of money that you would be getting. But probably to have an idea, maybe for expensive areas, maybe like New York, California, that would be like high tier, maybe like 3,000.
For California, it's like a little over 2,700.
Okay, there you go. And probably like for, I don't know, Missouri, Alabama, Nebraska. So that would be a little bit less, based on zip code, because it's not always the same amount of money that you need to live in this or that area. Probably much less if you would live somewhere in, I don't know, on an island. So, how often will a caregiver would receive a stipend or payment?
They get paid monthly for the personal care services that the primary caregiver provided in that prior month. Once an application is approved, the stipend will be retroactive to the date of the application that it was received, but usually on the first of the month.
So let's say I filed on January 1st, caregiver filed on January 1st, 2015. He got approved for this program on September 1st, 2015, which is 9 months from January 1st. So when he's going to be paid, if he's got approved on 1st or like the 2nd September?
If he got approved like on the 2nd of September, something like that, usually they don't, that's a little different. They usually don't give you the back pay like they do on a disability compensation claim. So usually when you'll see the back pay on the the back pay and your pay on the 1st at the same time. So usually caregivers are getting paid all at the same time on the 1st. So there's not, like with disability benefits, you usually get your back pay however long you're waiting on, and then on the 1st you get your disability amount. And what it appears with the caregivers is that when they get any kind of back pay, it happens on the 1st along with their check.
Yeah, so pretty much you'll get money for 9 months, and then for the month of September you'll get on October 1st or September 31st, depends on your bank.
Yeah.
How do I get more information if I just want to go deeper besides those eggs that you mentioned?
Yeah. One, you could definitely check out the website, www.caregiver.va.gov. Or you could even give them a call. There's a National Caregiver Support line, and that's 1-855-260-3274. And it's staffed by professionals who answer questions, listen to your concerns, and assist you to connect with the Caregiver Support Coordinator where you live. And they're up and running from 8 to 8 Monday to Friday.
So once I got pretty much information and understanding in general what it is, so what should I do? Like, what would be my first step for application? Or what I have to do?
Definitely, like anything else in life, you want to educate yourself. So make sure if you get that chance, check out the Omnibus Health Services Act of 2010. Enacted in May 5th, 2010, the Caregiver and Veteran Omnibus Health Services Act, Public Law Number 111-163, provides additional support to eligible post-September 11, 2001 veterans and service members who elect to receive their care in a home setting from a family caregiver. So definitely understand what you're getting into and why this is here in the first place. Then you should probably check into the CHAMP VA, the Caregiver Program Handbook, and the National Caregiver Training Program Caregiver Workbook, so you have an idea of what is expected of a caregiver. The Family and Medical Leave Act, the FMLA, is a good thing to understand too. And the Caregiver Eligibility Check, you could check out on the VA's website, www.va.gov/health eligibility/caregiver.
Those acts or workbooks might be kind of handy.
Yeah, so you understand what's going on before you just jump into it.
Yeah, of course you can always follow that, like our step-by-step approach, but I guess if you want to be in control, so at least understand what's going on, or try to understand.
Yeah.
Because it's not evident
sometimes.
So how do I apply? What's the application process after I got into those documents?
Yeah, so once you start figuring out that, I want to jump on this, the VA form you're looking for is 10-10CG or 10-10 Caregiver. And you can find that at the www.caregiver.va.gov. This application enables the veteran to designate one primary family caregiver and up to 2 secondary family caregivers. Caregiver support coordinators are available at every VA medical center to assist veterans and their caregivers with the application process. Additional application assistance can be provided at 1-877-222-VETS or 1-877-222-8387. If the veteran is not currently enrolled in VA healthcare, both the VA Form 1010-EZ to sign up for healthcare and the Caregiver Program, the VA Form 1010-CG, will need to be completed. The application must be completed and signed by both the veteran and the legal representative and the primary caregiver. The application can be hand-carried to a caregiver support coordinator at the local VA medical center for walk-in processing, or it may be mailed to the Family Caregivers Program, Health Eligibility Center, 2957 Claremont Road, Northeast, Suite 200, Atlanta, Georgia, 30329.
Yeah, so pretty much reach out to your local caregiver support coordinator and ask him to request assessment or reassessment of your case based on your symptoms that you have. It might be PTSD, depression, or whatever you have, and see if you're eligible. Step 3. Let's say you educated yourself, you looked up that form, you filled it up. Guess what? You're getting a phone call, first one. So pretty much it's going to be a short call assessment, most likely like introduction, not to a veteran but to the caregiver. And they would ask basic questions like he applied or like what he's trying to do. And from that call, which is kind of short, since it's the first call, they will schedule an interview so you can come in And it's going to be an assessment of a veteran. So the caregiver would bring a veteran to probably nearest VA facility, and a doctor, like to whatever you're whatever you're referring to as your disability, or whatever you're referring to what you are not able to perform. So that would be assessed. So if it's PTSD, then I guess psychiatrist or psychologist, probably psychiatrist, would look up at your file. If it's something else, probably the other doctor would look up in your file, and you'll go through assessment. So he would put you through the bunch of through a checklist, through a bunch of questions that you have to answer, and that's how he makes an assessment. But we'll get to that. So let's say if it's PTSD, then psychologist, he'll talk about criteria for your eligibility, and he'll go through different bullet points that actually in that checklist. And in general, that would be maybe 26, 30 points, and depends on how high you score, that how high you'll be getting in your tiers. So pretty much if you didn't score much, you'll go to tier 1. A little bit more, probably like 15 to 20, maybe tier 2. If you score like 26 out of 28 possible points, you'll get in tier 3. And understand that you'll be working most of the time with a caregiver support coordinator, or most likely is a registered nurse. She would be your probably primary contact, but she doesn't put you in the tier. She just checks on you, but that's a job of psychiatrist or a doctor, first of all, to put you in the tier. So what happens after like psychologist or doctor assess you? Where does your file go?
It'll go back to the PAC team to figure out what tier you fall under. And once they figure out what tier that you fall under, they'll give you and the caregiver a call. And it's usually both on the same phone at the same time to talk about what happened with their discovery.
Yeah, and let's focus a little bit on those bullet points that actually they go through to assess your, your index.
Yeah, and so the way they're assessing you and getting those points to get to those tiers is called the CATS Index of Independence and Activities of Daily Living. The CATS Index of Independence and Activities of Daily Living is commonly referred to as the CATS ADLs. It is the most appropriate instrument to assess the functional status as a measurement of the client's ability to perform activities of daily living independently. Clinicians typically use the tool to detect problems in performing activities of daily living and to plan care accordingly. The index ranks adequacy of performance in the 6 functions of bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, continence, and feeding. Clients are scored as a yes or no for independence in each of these 6 functions. A score of 6 indicates full function, 4 indicates moderate, and 2 or less indicates a severe function or impairment.
Yeah, if you plug in CATS index of ADL into Google, you'll get that list of points straight away. So you would know like what kind of questions you'll be asked. So once you go through those steps, you'll get an like your nurse or your caregiver coordinator would ask, most likely would verify your address, looking at your ID and address of your caregiver. And generally it's good if it matches.
Yeah. And you definitely want to give them support documents to help back yourself up.
Yeah. So, which moves us to the second step. And that would be a caregiver assessment part 1.
Here they're checking symptoms of stress. Are you experiencing any of these symptoms of stress? And then check all that apply to you. So they want to make sure that the caregiver that's dealing with that veteran could actually do that job. The Caregiver Support Coordinator will complete a primary family caregiver assessment to review the caregiving roles and responsibilities, as well as assess the caregiver's ability to provide personal care services or supervision or protection. A release of information will be required, so they really want to make sure that the veteran is not scaring the caregiver, or that the veteran is in some violent or anything like that with like family members or anything. So that caregiver has to be able to take care of that veteran.
Well, the way I understand it, so it happens internally at VA, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything, but you got to understand that's what's going on at this point. So, and well, next, most likely a caregiver would receive an email that he has to complete caregiver training services, and that training is provided by Easter SEALs Military, and pretty much you'll get a web link with a password and login to log in onto Easter SEALs website, and that's what caregiver has to do in order to be qualified for taking care of a veteran. So yeah, training online. Also, you'll get a DVD and self-book study, probably like for DVD, something like that, but maybe a little bit easier, maybe a little bit complicated, but that's one of the steps that you have to do. So, and once caregiver completes his this training, he'll get the certificate, and that certificate is mailed, or like in digital world, just emailed to VA saying that okay, that guy passed. So what will be next?
And then after that, you'll have your home visit. The in-home visit, once the primary family caregiver has completed the training, and a VA clinician will come and conduct a home visit to check on how the veteran's living and how the caregiver is actually helping this person out. And the main thing of this visit is to make sure that the caregiver and the veteran have everything they need to be safe and successful in the home setting. So they're not judging you about what's in your closet or how your bedroom looks or anything like that. They just want to make sure that you're living in a safe environment and that caregiver can take care of you.
Yeah, and it's most likely it's going to be a nurse who is in charge of you, or one of one of the nurses who works with you, caregiver support coordinator, and she is in general, that's like really like a caring and loving person who would come and see like if you are like if your back hurts, like you can't sometimes stand for a long period of time, or sometimes with your back logs, they would give you a chair or a handlebar. They would check your environment, so you won't have like a bunch of Lego on the floor, so you would be like tripping and falling. So yeah, that's pretty much what she does, her job, to verify that everything is adequate for your safe and safe and beneficial environment for rehabilitation. Maybe for rehabilitation, at least where you can stay and live somehow.
Yeah, at least you're still at home.
Yeah. So also, like, since we went through that checklist of CAT's ADL activities, we'll give you a list of activities that is not eligible, but let's go through those that are actually considered to be eligible for that program.
Yeah. So the first one would be eating. So you're talking about feeding, giving medicine, pills or injections, grooming, bathing, showering, dressing, getting dressed, helping, to get your shoes on, your clothes on, things like that. Toileting, getting to and from the toilet. Assistive devices like a cane. Mobility, like getting in and out of bed or chairs. transferring and safety and supervision, so helping to remember important dates, supervising appointments, helping manage finances, coordinating medical care and rehab services, advocating for the veteran with care providers, government agencies, and difficulty with recent memory issues.
So, what kind of activities are not eligible?
Yeah, so things that the caregiver might be doing for you, but just doesn't count towards points or towards any tier system. It would be housekeeping, like vacuuming, things like that. Cooking, the actual preparation of meals, not actually helping that veteran eat, but the preparation of it. Laundry and transportation, and grocery shopping.
Yeah, which actually doesn't make too much sense because those things definitely got to be done, or not got to be done, most likely going to be done by a caregiver.
Right.
The only thing caveat for transportation, so you're still eligible when you need to go to VA appointment, so your caregiver can drive you.
Yeah.
But if you got to go
to the movies
to
or
the
something,
movies, yeah.
Too bad.
Which Batman got to work. So, which gets us to the other step. So, what would be like phone call assessment part 2, what we call it, of course, not an official VA term.
For applicants that become approved for the program, it's important to note that the evaluations for eligibility are ongoing. Initial eligibility in the program is not to be construed as permanent eligibility. Our goals are to support the caregiver and the veteran's process of recovery and rehabilitation. Whenever that potential exists, for the veteran to be able to remain in the home during this process and for the veteran to function as independently as possible, determination regarding the level of care required also may change as the veteran progresses in their recovery and rehabilitation.
So
don't lean on this to be there forever like your disability, but there is the potential that you can get a little bit out of this program for your needs if they're there. But just don't think that it's going to be there forever.
Yeah. Once you get done with this step, finally you'll receive a final packet with all the paperwork. And what would I find in that packet?
Yeah, so like once you get that packet in the mail, it almost looks like the VA decision letters for a disability claim. They'll explain everything they thought about it and why they came up to these conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll say, that this person is 18, that this person is a family member, that they've demonstrated ability to help out,
Mm-hmm.
that there is a need that the veteran has, things like that. And they'll explain how the monthly allowance works, the stipend.
Mm-hmm.
They'll talk about Champ VA in case you need it, how the travel reimbursement works and who to contact if you need that. And just in case you guys are listening, the phone number we have for around our area is 310-478-3711, extension 42474. And they're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And so that's the travel guys.
Yeah, I would say just go see them at West LA.
Yeah, I think anything you do at the VA, go in person. You always have better odds in the morning and going in person.
Yeah, it's the first floor, main entrance on the right.
Yeah. Again, the caregiver has respite care. They also have mental health services in case they need it, or if they're just a little stressed. Education and training, so if they need more training or they feel they're lacking in one area or another, the VA is there to help them get educated on it, and they could get an ID card showing that they are who they are when it comes to being a caregiver for a vet.
Yeah, and of course, you're gonna get something else. Even though it was a final packet, you'll get a confirmation packet.
Yeah.
Which would pretty much congratulate you with all the steps actually that you accomplished in order to be qualified. And it's what important about the confirmation packet, it's finally a piece of paper that actually tells you what tier you're at and how much you're getting. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and And also you has the right to appeal if you don't like it, something you feel that has been done unjust to you, so you can appeal, and there are a lot of appeals right now going on.
Yeah, but no matter what, you could always argue with the VA if you don't believe it's a just decision.
Yeah, and of course you'll be checked on pretty much every 3 months. The nurse would be coming to your house and checking on conditions. So you'll get 4 visits first year, and then if she feels comfortable, I guess it's on the nurse, but most likely you'll be getting not you, like caregiver would be getting phone calls. Or do they visit after first year?
Yeah, they always have that option. But because right now there is a big influx on these caregiver claims because people are starting to learn about them. Last time I saw that they were doing phone calls just because it's a lot easier to get to more veterans that way than it is to have a nurse driving from home to home.
Yeah.
So right now they're definitely doing phone calls, but they have the ability to do one or the other.
Yeah, especially in LA area, just imagine somebody driving like through the whole city to see you. My God, person get completely drained.
Yeah,
I can't do it myself.
And I can't imagine how many people you get to in that way.
Yes. Like our, as always, like at the end, Joe, do you have any like resource or like information resource or like book or movie you would like to recommend?
I can't remember the title of it right now, but Stephen King wrote a short story about Batman and Robin. I think it's called Batman and Robin Have an Argument. But I don't think that's the proper title, but that's kind of wild. And it's kind of interesting to see Stephen King's take on a Batman story. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah, from somebody who's a Batman fan. Yeah. And myself, I recently watched a great movie, Eye in the Sky, about drones and about one of the operations that been conducted by U.S. military, and how actually the decision process goes, like because what we see in the news, or like even though it's like while in the like military, there are so many MOSs or like specialties that sometimes you don't know what's going on unless you interact with those people. So that movie would show you actually how the decision process goes when they identify the target, they identified that somebody is on the list of the people they're looking for or something they're looking for, actually how they get an approval, and how actually it goes from the point that they identify the target to actually pushing the button. So yeah, so you can watch it. It's a recent movie, 2015. Major character, maybe gonna be a person in charge, Colonel Catherine Powell, and she's in charge. She's killing it, or at least she doesn't question herself too much. But still, it's a tough job, a tough decision you have to make, and
Definitely.
to fulfill your duties. So I was always interested actually how it happens.
Yeah, no, that sounds really wild.
Yeah. And to end up on a good note, so what would be a call for action, like quotes or words of wisdom?
Yeah, so the quote we have today is, "Battles are won by slaughter and maneuver. The greater the general, the more he contributes in the maneuver and less he demands in slaughter."
Yeah, said by Winston Churchill. And that's it, folks. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Hope you guys get something out of it.
Yeah, until next time, over and out.